Hello and welcome to A Bright Future Fitness podcast. I've got with me Brodie, and just introduce yourself a little bit about yourself, mate.
My name's Ricky, as you've just highlighted. I'm a personal trainer, online mostly now as well. Been personal training for 4 to 5 years now. Probably online coaching for about the same amount of time, but obviously slowly building it up. And now before all of the COVID stuff, I was full-time as a personal trainer and online coach. But obviously now the gyms are closed, things are slightly different. But just recently gone full-time.
Yeah. The first thing I'd like to start talking about is the work you're currently doing as an engineer. And if I remember rightly, you were saying it's something to do with like the epidemic or coronavirus, sort of, in a way. Do you want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, of course. So obviously leaving school, what I got into was engineering. I've done engineering for 10 or so years, probably more than that, because I was doing it whilst I was at school as well. And obviously that is my background. Recently, due to what's happened, we used to do a lot of aircraft stuff and things like that, and then we done some DNA testing machines.
Yeah.
So we used to help create components to basically put together a DNA testing machine. Obviously, now with what's going on, these sort of products, or the machines themselves, are kind of needed a lot more. Whereas that before it happened, there wasn't as much need for them. They were obviously being sold and being made, but now they're shifting all over America, all over England, all over different countries. So my old boss got in contact with me, obviously because I know what I'm doing. So he just asked if I could go help out, and obviously where the gyms are closed, it makes sense. Also, it's good to know that I'm kind of doing something to kind of help out as well,
and it probably helps out your income side as well, doesn't it?
Definitely. Yeah, of course.
Do you find your online stuff slow down a lot, or is it still quite good?
So obviously at the start, I've got, a lot of my clients are like small business owners and things like that. So they obviously had an initial hit of what's going on. There was a lot of uncertainty. So at first, a few clients dropped off, and I'm still in contact with them. I'm still helping them. Obviously, financially for them, it's not a priority. But to be fair, through the period, I must admit, over the last 2 weeks, I've managed to sign up 4 new clients. So as you can imagine, that it's started to pick up a little bit more because people still need that direction and need that help, especially when they're at home. Obviously they appreciate you helping them and guiding them through this time and keeping them positive, I guess. So
but it's mostly the structure and the help in it, really, because the longer it's going on, the more people are kind of like, oh, we're going to be like this for a while. I need help now.
You think at first we was expecting it to be a couple of weeks, and now I think it's kind of settled into people's minds that the gym's probably not going to be open for a good 3 months at least. So you can't just spend 3 months doing nothing.
No.
Especially when you got holidays and stuff lined up.
I know some people who have, but I think they're
that's it. Each to your own, though, isn't it?
But I think even now they did nothing, and they're like, I need to do something now.
Actually, 3 weeks holiday is good, but when it extends, it gets a bit like, the amount of people that I know now that are saying, I can't wait to go back to work. When at the start they were like, I'm loving this. Do you know what I mean? Like, definitely change things,
And I kind of feel that a lot of people kind of was very busy anyway, is that now they're not so busy, they kind of want to do a bit more for their health and their fitness and everything else.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And obviously they're going out for their daily exercise and everything else, but they're thinking, what else can I do? Whereas before, I find a lot of people were probably like, oh, I'm busy because I'm working, I'm doing this, I'm doing that.
We've
But
got
now
time.
there isn't that. So they
Yeah,
can be like,
definitely.
oh, I'll fill my time by doing this.
Yeah, well, I mean, like one of the things that I did do was got in contact with old clients or people
Yeah,
that have spoken to me in the past that have said, "Oh, you know, I'd love to do this, but I haven't got time." And I just said to them, "Look, now you've got time. You've
yeah,
got no excuse. This is where you, if you really want to do something, now's the time to kind of start taking care of yourself and find that routine and stuff." And to be honest with you, a lot of people have kind of turned around. Do you know what I mean? And they've actually realised that it's not as hard as what they think.
yeah,
But it does make a difference when you have got this sort of time. Do you know what I mean? Like this to me is an absolute breeze. Like for
yeah,
getting in shape. Like I've
yeah,
got no external stresses
yeah,
at all. You know, I haven't got to be going to the gym back and forth 3-4 times a day.
yeah. Because it
Uh,
must have been hectic. Because
yeah. Like trying to
your little
maintain.
one as well, and going back forth, and
Yeah, it
cause,
is. You don't realise though. Do you know what I mean?
no,
Because it's
you just get on, you're just getting on with it, ain't you?
exactly like I've noticed so much of a change in my physique over this period. Positive. Do you know what I mean? I feel a lot less
Yeah,
stressed. I feel like my body's looking more consistent rather than lack of sleep and then hectic days where it affects
yeah,
all your hormones and kind of. Whereas now I just feel like I'm like, which
yeah,
is making things so much easier. But
yeah.
yeah, it is
Um,
mad.
going, we've kind of talked about your online training and everything a bit. Um, did you get qualified literally 5 years ago when you started? Just before?
Um, no, so obviously, I mean, I've always had when I was younger, I was overweight, so I've always had a thing about wanting to look a certain way.
Yeah,
When I started to lose weight was probably when I was about 15, 16. And obviously that's when everything changed. You know, I was able to do more. I used to play football, so I was better at
yeah, yeah,
football, all that sort of stuff. So I've learned all the way through. And then basically what happened was someone got in contact with me because they was doing a course and they was offering it to me for a really low price. So
yeah,
I just did it as a hobby, as a thing. Like I literally had no intentions of becoming a personal trainer.
yeah,
Although people had mentioned to me, "Oh, why don't you become a PT?" Because I'd helped a lot of people. Um, I had no intentions because I had a good job. I was
yeah,
earning quite well. I quite enjoyed my job as well. You know,
yeah,
it was pretty sweet. I could do what I wanted in the sense of I always was training at the same time. I could get my food in. So for me, it was a perfect lifestyle. So I just did it as a
yeah,
hobby on the side. Um, and that was about 5 years ago. And then I kind of just thought to myself, it was a random, I was in a bit of a weird place with what I was doing. My job kind of hit its peak. So
yeah,
obviously, hitting your peak at like 25, you question a lot of things. I was kind of like, what am I going to do? Am I going to just be doing this for the rest of my life? Blah, blah, blah,
yeah,
blah. I had a bit of a moment. I thought, sod it, I'm going to do a show. The show was in 8 weeks
yeah,
from when I just thought, sod it. Obviously, I absolutely hammered myself for them 8 weeks.
yeah,
Stepped on stage. Obviously, I mean, I didn't win anything or anything like that, but I come away with probably the most satisfying feeling I've ever had.
mm,
And then I realised what I was capable of, and that feeling again of progression. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So, I just thought, you know what, I'm going to try and do this on the side, try and give other people that. And then that's how it happened. I was doing it on the side for, well, for 4 years. Do you know what I mean? It was kind of on and off sort of thing. Um, and yeah, that's where it went. It started as a hobby, and then it kind of naturally just took its route, and now it's more of it's my life. It's my business. It's my income
yeah.
as well.
Um, yeah. Like we said, we obviously discussed that you're obviously a parent on top of all this, and obviously he's growing up quite fast already. Like,
Yeah,
I always see your stories and everything and think,
yeah,
freaking hell, like
yeah.
that long ago, he was tiny, mate.
And it's mad. Yeah.
And like, obviously, I'm talking probably a bit more before lockdown, but like, did you find it hectic, or was it just you got yourself into that routine of kind of working, training, children, etc.?
It was very sporadic. Like everything was all over the place. There was, before Arlo, there was a lot of consistency and routine in my life. And then as soon as I found out I was going to be a dad, we was in a bedsit flat.
Yeah,
So you can imagine that's just literally a kitchen and then one big room.
yeah,
We had we had a bit of space, but there was no end. We had a dog, so there was no space for a baby really. So obviously
yeah,
from there, it was kind of the main focus was to get into a house. So I was working as an engineer. I was PTing as self-employed. I was PTing at David Lloyd's as well. So I actually had a part-time job at David Lloyd's, and I was online coaching.
yeah,
So you can imagine with doing all that
yeah,
and then trying to manage my own stuff, it was very hard. But I did manage to continue, like stay around maintenance with my weight, and I managed to get workouts in. So when Arlo was born, the house come about, and then obviously once we was in the house, I didn't have to do as much.
yeah,
So I think that because I was right up there with what I was able to do,
yeah,
once he was born, I obviously and we moved into the house. A lot of that, like I left David Lloyd.
yeah.
I minimised my hours as an engineer, and then I went into going full time for myself. So as much as it's obviously been difficult in comparison to that. It
It's
hasn't. Do
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
still been
It's just
hard, but
readjusting
yeah, because
in a different way.
yeah, yeah, it's because I was so, you know, near that breaking point. I guess I couldn't take on any more. To now, just having to manage what I'm doing and having a kid,
Yeah,
it's almost easy.
yeah,
But it's not easy in a sense. Yeah, it's just easier than then. So I guess I don't really notice how difficult it is, but it does definitely have its difficulties without a doubt. Managing, you got, like I mentioned to you, his sleep over the last week has been awful. Like,
yeah.
so he's been getting up and stuff, and they're the things that you don't realise when you haven't got a kid. You take for granted that the pure 8 hours sleep that you
Oh,
get.
I know. Mate, I remember when my eldest, what lives with me, when she was little, she had nightmares really bad,
Mm.
and the only way to get her to chill out most nights was to sleep on her floor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So your sleep.
Days I would sleep
Yeah,
on a hard floor,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
just so that she felt safe, and then saying, right, I'm going to be in there now.
mm,
You're all right, and get her used to that.
yeah.
But going through days of hard floor, just lying on the floor.
And broken sleep as well. It just all
Yeah,
adds up, doesn't it? Yeah. And that's the thing. Like you think, people don't understand that, because I used to train so hard that sleep was so necessary.
yeah.
And if I push myself through that period, like with lack of sleep, like I wasn't able to recover properly. So
Uh,
I was just running myself.
you can tell, can't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Without a
So it's
doubt.
managing my energy levels alongside my sleep. I had to
Yeah,
be realistic some days and be like, look, I
I
can't
can't do
train
it. I
today.
can't. Yeah,
If I'm going to train today, it's going to be a light session.
yeah,
I'm just going to get the blood pumping, and that's why I started doing a lot of like full body workouts rather than
yeah,
other splits, because I was able to just go in and do like a nice circuit and feel good for it, and still maintain what I've got.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely hasn't.
quite a few people um, still do full body because it works, especially with like short period of time.
Yeah.
Only go a couple times a week. Full body works perfectly.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Last couple things. Just trying to find out a little bit. we obviously know about your football. Did you kind of pick up any sort of like equipment and or like weights or anything like at a younger age, or was it just purely your football side and the training with that?
No, obviously football was my main thing. I didn't
Yeah,
know at the time. None of this was kind of like, oh, I know that football's for fitness or anything like that. That was just one of them things that
just
I just,
enjoyment, or
yeah, I
yeah,
just like playing football. I had a good team that I was playing for, and I enjoyed it. But what I did have, luckily, when I was younger, was my mum was pretty like open to me having weights and stuff like that. So I always remember I had the old concrete, which I still have actually got the weights in my gym now. To be
is
fair,
it
I've had them for so long. Yeah, no, the old York set that were like the
plastic
plastic
with the
ones. Yeah,
concrete
yeah,
inside it? And
yeah. That's it. Yeah, I had dumbbells. I had a barbell, and I had a massive tub of protein. But obviously back then, protein was disgusting. Like it was awful.
yeah,
I remember buying it from Argos. It was like a bucket, and
yeah,
I used to put it into a pint glass with water and mix it with a fork, and it was all lumpy and that. And I think back now, but yeah, I mean that was probably, and then when I was 16 or probably before that actually, my mum got me a bench in my bedroom. So you can imagine my bedroom was when I was
yeah,
younger was literally a bed and a bench.
yeah.
But don't get me wrong, I wasn't like every day I'd get up and train. I wasn't that
No,
sort of
yeah,
person. I kind of done it when I felt like doing it, and some days I'd be really motivated to do it. Other days I wouldn't even bother. I wasn't one of these guys that maybe if I did do that, like get up every day and train, I probably would have had a better physique when I was younger. But
yeah,
it was just kind of played without them a little bit. I used to be honest, I guess thinking back now, I used to use them as an outlet. You know, like if I had a stressful day,
yeah.
um, you know, if I got killed on Call of Duty or whatever game I was playing, I'd do some dumbbell curls or whatever.
Because I'm trying to think what if I had any weights at home when I was young. I think the only thing that I ever kind of progressed, but not. It was just like a piss around thing as a kid. With
Yeah.
my brothers, they're like my brother's like 10 years older than me. I'm like real young compared to
Mm.
them. Um, they had like the really old spring things with the handles at the end.
Oh yeah.
And as a kid, over time, I was just like, I'm going to progress this where I can do it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then, like, it took me hardly any time to just go up to my brothers and be like, look, I can do
I
this.
can do it. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I never really had, like, I was kind of into my rugby and stuff when I was younger,
Yeah.
and a little bit of boxing, but I never really had much weight at home. Um, I purely at 15 went into a gym. Well, I was
Mm.
kind of forced into it by like a college because I was
Mm.
kicked out of school for misbehaving and different stuff. And they were like, you
Yeah.
can't classrooms. We'll go to the gym in the morning
See what happens. Yeah.
and I
Release a
could
bit of
do my
energy.
work throughout the day. So they
Yeah.
just
Oh,
said,
okay.
go
Yeah.
there 5 days a week, every morning.
Yeah.
And that's what a
That's
routine
good.
was.
Yeah.
um, but at one point, I had a multi gym in my room and all I had was a bed, a multi gym, and a TV to play Call of Duty. And I never used it. I just
No,
went to the gym instead. So just
just
took it up for nothing.
now you'd give anything for a multi gym, wouldn't
Oh,
you?
because like where I thought this was going to be like really short,
Mm.
because I was probably a bit foolish thinking, oh, it's not going to be very long.
Yeah.
Um, I was just like, oh, I'll just work with a paint can and other stuff. And
Just
then
get a
my
little bit
missus is
of
like, you probably need something more. Do you want these bands or whatever? I'll order you some bands or
yeah.
whatever. And I got that. And then now it's to the point where I'm like, oh, legs. I can really do well with bands.
Mm.
I think it's because it's a different feeling compared to like weight, if that makes sense. Like the way
Yeah.
of having the
Well, you're
clips
moving
and
your
different
body weight
stuff.
as well, do you know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
moving your body weight as well, so there's still
Um.
that
So
extra.
in the last week, I've managed to get a bar, plates, possibly some dumbbells, loads of stuff now, because
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
right, you might be here for a bit longer now.
yeah. Well, that's what I mean, when obviously I was, because I'm working out of the gym, as soon as I found out that there's any chance that the gyms could be closed, I was like, right, that's it. So I ordered some dumbbells from Argos, went down
Yeah.
there, picked them up. I had no problem getting all of that stuff. I had bands and everything. And then obviously the lockdown happened, and then that was it. Everything went through the
Everything went
roof.
mental, yeah.
Yeah, but luckily
I
one
think
of my
that's what my
mates
problem
paid
was
for it.
I was a bit too naive about it
Mm,
and was thinking, oh, it'll be all right.
yeah.
And then
Well,
being like, oh, I need stuff.
I
And
don't blame you a bit, one bit though. Like, I think if I was, like, for me, like, obviously where it was, where I was working, I had to think ahead in case. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
worst case scenario. Because if not, I'd have been. I mean, to be naive when it's what you do for a living,
yeah,
like, I'm there every. Do you know what I mean? Would have
yeah,
been stupid of me, I suppose. But I think a lot of people are in the same boat. You know, a lot of people thought it weren't going to be for long, and now they're like paying through the nose for. I mean, one of my mates paid £70 for 4 or 5 kilo plates. I know. Yeah.
you know, I got two 20-kilo plates. My bar's not an Olympic bar or nothing, but I'm
Mm.
not bothered. I got two 20-kilo plates for 107 quid, and that's with delivery,
Yeah. It's mad,
which
isn't it?
it isn't too bad.
I mean, the plates look good. The plates you've got. I see them. I see you put them up. But I think you got. I suppose you got to think like a lot of people would prefer to have dumbbells than barbell, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
Not a lot of people are used to using barbells. They don't tend to go into that area too often. So people are a
yeah,
lot more
yeah, a
comfortable with
lot
the
more used to the
dumbbells.
dumbbells and
Mm.
bench and whatever. Um, because I am thinking about dumbbells, but I already kind of know that with a barbell I can do a lot, and
Yeah.
especially with bands and stuff, you can add weight to it.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, you have got to be kind of smart with it. You don't want to keep buying shit tons of equipment and then gym opens and you don't use it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Luckily, we've got a brick shed, so I managed to persuade her to let me convert it into a gym. So I've
well,
got a
like,
pull-up bar
because
going in.
obviously, because obviously when this started, I was just obviously blasé about it and was like, oh yeah, I'll be fine with my bands and stuff. And I'm building like garden stuff.
Yeah,
We ain't even got a very big garden. I'm building
yeah.
like planters and stuff with my partner and everything else. And then I'm like, can I nick that wood? I need to build a bench now. Like
Yeah,
literally
yes.
to the point where I'm like, I need to do something now. Because literally we've got like a courtyard and I'm
Mm.
managing. So I think that's what the main thing to most people is just really, no matter what space you have, you can maintain, or if you've got enough equipment, I still think you can really do well.
Yeah, of course,
Because
definitely.
I know people who they've got a lot more space and they were quite lucky and had the money to do stuff. They've got like
Mm.
big racks and whatever else,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they're just carrying on. They're just
Yeah,
progressing
not
still
making no
massively.
difference. Well, I mean, I've got no clients that are not progressing. They're all still progressing. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So, but obviously, with a lot of them who were on the goal, you know, I've obviously got clients that are fat loss,
yeah,
maintenance, and then trying to build muscle. The guys that are trying to build muscle, I've just had to sit down and explain to them that obviously the route that we're going to be taking now is going to be very different in the sense of you are going to have to do 15, 20, 25 reps to kind of get that same
yeah,
metabolic build up that you was probably getting when you had 30-kilo dumbbells. Do you know what I mean? Where we
yeah,
could look at just slowly improving reps or increasing reps or increasing sets and whatnot. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's
and
just one
like
of them
drop
things where
sets and like isolations
you
and
just
stuff.
now you've just got to be open and stop being, I guess, naive to the fact that you can't add weight. Like, you just can't. You just got to accept it. Do you know what I mean? And it is hard for some people. You know, I know a lot of people that are almost gave up at the start
Yeah.
because they thought it wasn't possible. But now I think that's why I'm posting a lot more of my own journey at the moment. Whereas before I was kind of just trying to put out a lot more content towards helping others in the sense of like nutrition tips and training
Yeah.
tips and things like that. But now I've kind of switched it to my own journey, and I'm more talking to my own client base now rather than everyone else. Because at the
Yeah.
moment I've got absolutely I don't care. I'm just trying to teach my clients and show them and prove to them that it's possible. Because the only limitation you put on yourself is mostly put on by you, and you're not going to get past that because
Yeah.
you know what I mean, you're setting that boundary for yourself. Whereas if you see someone else who has just got, like, for example, I've just got dumbbells. I'm just working with dumbbells and bands at the moment. I have got a bench, which does help, but before I didn't, and I was still able to prove that I could get a good stimulus and I could still progress and look the part. And
Yeah.
and I think that's the thing that people need now is a bit more honesty and not this, like, you can't go by off someone that's got 150 to 200 kilos worth of plates, a bar, dumbbells, bench, a rack. Do you know what I mean? You can't.
No.
That's not relatable. That's not relatable to a lot of people.
No. I think that's why I put my bench out, and like I've been saying to people, look at this video and that on how to build things if you ain't got it, or
Yeah.
and
I've got. I mean, I might be able to show you on here. One of my clients, he made up something in his garden. I've had two clients, but this is, I don't know if can you see it?
yeah.
Yeah, he's made himself like a little bench, and then another guy made himself like an actual. They don't do woodwork for a living or anything like that. They've just done it as look, he's made himself. This is another guy. He's made like a rack out of wood.
Freaking hell.
I know. He was like, I got bored and made this. I was like, Jesus, mate.
I know. I kept saying I seen someone built like a squat rack with a bench and everything, and I was like, can I just fill the garden with that? And my missus like, no. Because we've literally got a courtyard, and I'm like, yeah, can I just put a squat rack and a bench out there?
Well, that guy who built the rack, his missus, that wood was for a shed. And he said to his missus, like, I'm not building a shed out of that. I'm going to build a rack. Once this is over with, I'll build the shed.
And just to kind of end on, it's kind of we've talked a little bit about it, but what's kind of your goals for kind of now, but also in the future, like any competitions or
what my own personal goals? Yeah. I mean, at the moment, my main goal is to maintain and slowly progress from the period to. I think I've put up quite a few times that I'm going to be doing a photo shoot pretty much straight after lockdown's done.
Yeah.
So probably give myself like 6 weeks of normality to get ready for the shoot. Mainly because I was supposed to be competing literally.
Yeah, I think that's why I asked, because I'm sure you were supposed. That's
yeah,
what
I was, but as soon as all of this come out in with the bans and restrictions, I just cut, because I was literally like ready to. I was 4 or 5 weeks out before this happened,
Yeah.
and I was basically ready to dip into them dark places where it's
hard,
selfish focus. You know, everything's bang on. Because I've done it quite a few times, like my body adapts and changes quite quickly at that point. Like I'm never that far away anyway, so I can tend to do it within like 6 weeks. But as soon as
you ain't gone like me when I got to like 20 stone, and then get down to prep, and then last few weeks I'm like, I've had enough now.
Yeah. I have done before, but I learned the hard way. You know, I learned. I don't know who it was who said it, but it was something along the lines of. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, and that proper stuck with me because it's so true. Like I, you know, sometimes I have clients that want to do photo shoots and stuff, and I do it with them and things like that. And I've learned that I don't need to be for my goals personally. Like I have long-term goals. So over the next 5 years, my goal is to kind of focus on adding muscle and get to some sort of competitive physique as a men's physique, because I feel like that's where my kind of where I lie, sort of thing. I've got quite small joints and stuff, so I don't know whether I do too well on a bodybuilding stage. So really, my main goal is to focus on over the next 5 years, just continuously adding muscle and being patient with it.
Yeah.
But short-term goals, like I say, photo shoot. Whether I step on stage next year, it depends. I don't know, because business and stuff like that is main thing at the moment. You know, my partner's just got a new job, and we're looking to kind of move into another house, which is obviously going to be the main priority. So I'm not 100% sure at the moment.
Sorry.
That's all right, mate. Yeah, so there's like a mixture of goals, but photo shoot first, and then potentially competing next year. I want to get stupid shredded. I don't know, I just feel so good to do it, you know, like my body's just, but I've just got to time it right. So, and I'm sick of just stepping on stage for the sake of stepping on stage. I want to be competitive this time. So I've got to be realistic as well as, you know, let my ego get in the way.
Yeah. I forgot what else I was going to say now, because my daughter wanted me. Yeah. I think that was it, really. I'm going to stop recording now anyway.